opinions and content of this show are those of the host, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect those of Local Matters Broadcasting, LLC, its owners, partners, affiliates, assigns, or heirs. Having said that, it's now time to say good morning, St. Johns County. Welcome to the weekly radio show of the St. Johns County Council on Aging, better known in our community as the COA. We are your local nonprofit agency who for the past 50 years has been leading and advocating for the dignity, independence, health, and community involvement of older St. Johns County residents. I'm Brian Robinson, Program Director for COA, broadcasting to you live from the studio of WFOY 102.1 FM, your local radio station for news, sports, and talk. If you tuned in last week hoping to hear our Executive Director, Becky Yanni, and instead heard a network program, we do apologize for that. We had some miscommunication and had a network program placed in the queue instead of ours. And so we'll have our Executive Director back later at another time this year. Before we get into our show, let me remind everyone that if you have a question, comment, or a suggestion for a radio show topic, send your email to radio@coasjc.org. Again, that's radio@coasjc.org. And I do have my email up in front of me this morning. So if you're listening at home and you have a question for our guest this morning, feel free to shoot that email to me, and we'll see if we can work that into our list of questions this morning. My guest this morning is newly elected St. Johns County Commissioner Clay Murphy. Clay and I personally had the opportunity to meet at the St. Johns County Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Quarterly Breakfast. That's a mouthful. Held at the World Golf Village Renaissance back in June of 2023. And during our conversation, he let me know that he was planning to run for county commissioner and that if elected, he was ready and willing to do his part to help the seniors of St. Johns County. So I thought it would be great to have him on the show this morning. Commissioner Murphy, congratulations on your election win, and welcome to the weekly radio show of the St. Johns County Council on Aging.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's my pleasure to be here this morning.
Very good. Well, in case there's anybody out there listening this morning that's tuning in who knows absolutely nothing about you, take some time, tell our listeners about yourself.
I'll take about 60 seconds to give you the 30,000-foot view. I'm a Palatka boy. I grew up in Palatka. I went into law enforcement at a young age, at 19, and so I joined the Florida Highway Patrol. Was a state trooper for 26 years. Because of my association or my wife's job that she had. That's where we met. We actually met at Sonny's Barbecue. She waited on me. This was December 27th, 1991. She waited on me, and I told the guy sitting at the table, I said, that's the one right there. So next August will be 32 years that we've been married. But because of her work ethic and her position in the local franchise here, when I retired from the patrol in 2008, we got a chance to buy in and as a partner to the company. In 2015, we bought our partners out, and I became a barbecue man. So I'm blessed to have been able to serve on a few local boards here, and I still serve on the Saints Club, the Flagler Athletics Booster Club, as the board chair this year. I worked and served and donated for the Alpha Omega Miracle Home for about 15 years. I was the board chair about 9 years. I got a chance to serve there. I was a homeowners association president. You know, I think that overqualifies me for this job, being an HOA president, because wow, what an experience that was. But I'm blessed to be a born again Christian. I attend Family Church on 207. Volunteer there. We do the food bank on Saturday mornings, I love flying airplanes and playing golf, both of which I never get to do anymore. I'm telling you, if it hadn't been for the fact that I really felt in my heart that God was leading me this direction, at my age, at 64 now, we'd be sitting on a porch in a rocking chair somewhere. But we talked about it before the show. My pastor preached a sermon and said, we are over 60 more effective as being community centric and being influential over 60 than we are under 60. And that's true in my case. Before 60, I was busy with either law enforcement or run a business, raising kids, and now that my kids are grown, the business. My son-in-law runs the business, and my wife, and we had an opportunity to either say, let's go retire somewhere, or let's give back. And it's just probably the best city and the best county and the best state and the best country in the world, and it's such an honor to be able to represent St. Johns County in this position as county commissioner. So,
Well, so my wife and I have a similar story as to how we met, but it was reversed. I was her waiter.
Oh, cool!
I was waiting tables at 1994 back in West Virginia, where I'm from, and I knew her parents already, and they had come in and asked for me to be their waiter, and she was there.
Isn't that fun?
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
We've been married over 27 years now. And
congratulations! It's
two
a big
grown
deal.
Children,
it's a big deal in today's world. But I'm so blessed. My wife is amazing. She's an amazing woman, and it's funny. But when I retired from the highway patrol and we went into the barbecue business as franchisees, we've worked together every day for the past 16 years. And on the campaign trail, I mean, we started in March of 23, almost a year and a half before the election. We started on the campaign trail and campaigned together for the next year and a half, 17, 18 months. And so there's a little bit of separation anxiety right now. We're like, where's my wife? And she's, calling me going, this is weird, me not being, us doing everything together. So we're going through a little bit of a separation anxiety period. But I'm super blessed. We've got 3 wonderful kids, 6 wonderful grandchildren, ages from 22 to 3 months, and super blessed right now.
Well, I can relate to that as far as the partnership that you have shared with your wife over the years, because I was in ministry for a number of years, and so my wife played a vital role in that, and then we both now work at Council on Aging, so very, very privileged and honored to work side by side with my wife throughout the year. So
it's been a real blessing, and even a dumb old country boy like me can slip and fall in the mud and come out with a rose every once in a while, because I'm super blessed. So.
All right. Well, thank you for that introduction, letting our listeners know a little bit more about you. We're going to go ahead and take our first break right now. I got lots of different questions to get into as we get into the show. And all right, so we'll be right back after these commercial messages. And when you hear the Ramones, you know you're listening to the St. Johns County Council on Aging weekly radio show here on 102.1 FM, your local radio station for news, sports, and talk. My guest this morning is newly elected Commissioner Clay Murphy, and I have a number of questions that I want to get into for you this morning, and let's get started. So, as a new commissioner, I know that you have lots of issues that you want to tackle that impact all of the residents of St. John County. But since our primary demographic for those that are tuning in this morning is anybody that is 60 years of age or older, I want to ask some questions that pertain to this age group. So, the majority of people that run for public office, whether it's local level, state level, federal level, they do so because they want to make a positive difference in the lives of people. Approximately 27% of the population of St. Johns County is 60 years or older. So my question to you is, what positive difference are you hoping to make in the lives of our county's senior citizens?
Well, as someone who is in that 27%, I can tell you that it's very personal to me. My focus has changed over the years from being a breadwinner to now being a grandfather. So, some of the things that I look forward to doing is really going back to basics when it comes to the government. Over my 64 years, I've seen government grow into this giant blob that, as it rolls along, as it sucks everything in and becomes bigger and bigger and more expensive. Government regulations, taxes, fees. You call them fees, you call them taxes, whatever you want to. My hope, and one of the things that I'm really in tune to doing on this new board, is to figure out ways to reduce the cost of government so that people don't have to pay as much as they used to. We're working on trying to get a rollback this year. I don't know if we can get there fully. There's a lot of work to do on the budget, but already when I go to individual departments and talk to the department heads and take a tour of their facilities and meet the people that are working hard in St. Johns County, they're already focused on trying to find ways to cut the fat so that we can reduce people's taxes. At the very least, let's not raise anybody's taxes. We just had a big tax increase. I don't want to say big tax increase. Let me be fair about it. We voted in a tax increase with the school board millage rate increase, and we've continued another half cent. Those have made a big impact on people's taxes. And we're naturally getting the blowback. Why are my taxes going up? And so we have to be more efficient. We have to do more with less. I know that's as someone who's done the budget in my own house and in my own business. If you don't have the income coming in, then you can't spend it. And just because you have the income coming in, like we've had a couple of good years. Doesn't mean that we should go out and spend every dime we have. So figuring out ways to give back to the people of St. Johns County is one of the major focuses of why I ran in my campaign. I know that's broad, it's general, it's not specific necessarily to the plus 60 community, but it's going to affect the plus 60 community probably more and make a bigger impact over the course of the next 5, 10, 15 years than just about anything else I can think of in government. Programs are important. It's important for us to make sure that we're providing the services that we've always provided, and to really meet the needs of the aging community. One of the things that I would love to see is, you look out at the challenge of bringing in high-tech, high-paying, clean energy jobs. And one of the things that I don't want to do is I don't want to overlook the medical industry. I mean, we've got hospitals are one thing, but hospitals are generally for profit. But I'd love to see St. Johns County be a geriatric hospital center for the region, for the Southeast. You have Moffitt and Tampa for for cancer research. You have the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. We need to have something like that. We need to incite people to come to St. Johns County to have a state-of-the-art teaching geriatric hospital to where the aging community here can have the services that we really need locally, instead of having to load up and going to someplace like Tampa or Jacksonville or Houston, Texas, or Atlanta, Georgia. It's a dream. We're taking baby steps now, trying to see what that would look like. And as a new commissioner, I've still got a lot to learn. My learning curve has no curve in it. It's just a straight line right now, and so I'm drinking from a fire hose. But those are the things that are important to me. So that we make sure that we're in the right direction, because I'm rapidly approaching 65. 65 will be here in July, and I know that there are probably people out there at 75 and 85 and 95 saying, just a young whippersnapper. But I keep telling everybody, when your age starts with a 6, it's time to quit calling him a whippersnapper, because there ain't no whip left in my snap at 64. But it's important that we make sure that the government, I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican, so my outlook on what the government should and can provide for individuals is lensed by my conservative outlook. I think it's important that that the government not be what we depend on for our existence. I know we do, and we're moving more and more towards that. I'm afraid of that. One of the reasons why I'm so big into volunteerism and donating my time, talent, and treasure to nonprofits, just because I feel like we as individuals need to step up and take a bigger role in taking care of our seniors and taking care of the people that are less fortunate than us, and not depending upon the government. We don't want I don't want the government to become my God, where I have to have, if I don't have government, the help of government, I can't make it. We need we all need to step up. The ones of us that have been as blessed as I have, we need to step up. We need to volunteer, and we need to fill in those roles instead of, putting it on the backs of the taxpayers. I know there is a place for that. There's a place for government assistance. There's a place for that direction. And I'm not opposed to making sure that when there are stop gaps in coverage or issues that the government has in place programs to take care of people. I think it's important that we do that. But I want the government to be the last line of defense and not the first one. So that's might be controversial, but that's what I believe. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to ask the next question. We might get interrupted by a commercial break, so if that's the case, then we'll just continue that thought when it comes. But in April of 2023, the BOCC unanimously authorized the construction of 5 regional parks and community centers, estimated to cost around $123 million. Now, as you know, Council on Aging utilizes several county-owned buildings to provide programs and services to St. Johns County residents who are 60 years and older. More and more seniors in the northwest part of the county are asking us, when are we going to open a senior center in that area? So I just wanted to ask this question: Would you and I know you can't speak on behalf of all the commissioners, but would you be open to the idea of the community center that's going to be constructed in the Northwest Community Park as also serving as a senior center for that part of the county? Is that an option?
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. One of the things that we need to do is we need to be efficient with not only with our tax dollars but with our buildings. If we have the ability to stretch the usage of the facilities that we have to include more groups, as someone who is in the restaurant business, looking for meeting space has been a huge part of what people come to us for. People who do have meeting spaces are almost overwhelmed with requests. So utilizing the spaces that we're building, like in our libraries, and having meeting spaces there for the COA to use, I think is a great idea. It's a great use of resources. So I would be, how do we say this? I would lean towards agreeing that that's a great use of resources.
And that's great to hear. And, the fact is, we would not be able to do what we do without the buildings that you do provide us. And so I just want to say on air live that we are very, very grateful to the county for providing that to us so that we can provide the programs and services for the seniors that we provide at those locations.
Well, that's hopefully we can be as efficient in using the facilities that the county has as we can, but because that's the point. Yeah,
and so we have the Trout Creek location is a county-owned building. The one in Ponte Vedra is also a county-owned building. Our main office at 180 Marine Street is technically a county-owned building, and so we're just very, very grateful for that and the partnership that we have had with the county over the years, not only through that, but also through the HHS grant money that we get. That is very important for us to provide the services that we do. All right, that music means we're about to take our next break. We'll be right back after these messages. And welcome back to the weekly radio show of the St. Johns County Council on Aging here on WFOY 102.1 FM, your local radio station for news, sports, and talk. I'm Brian Robinson, Program Director for COA, joined this morning by newly elected Commissioner Clay Murphy. And so we were talking about, prior to the break, we were talking about the new centers that are going to be constructed. I want to now shift our focus to something that I hear often, especially here for St. Johns County, and especially as it relates to our seniors, and that is affordable housing. One of the things that I noticed, I was just doing a little bit of research in the St. Johns County Affordable Housing Grant Program. Now, I'm not super familiar with it, but just a little research. It provides grants to eligible organizations to fund a wide range of activities to create affordable housing for very low and moderate income residents in the county. According to the website, that is currently on hold. They're not accepting any applications at this time. So I'm just wondering, do you foresee any new affordable rental apartments being built in St. Johns County in the near future that could benefit our seniors who fall into the very low to moderate income?
Well, that's a great question. One of the challenges that we have now is attainable housing. The buzzwords are affordable, workforce, attainable, available. One of the things that that the people of St. Johns County have been screaming from the time I started this journey is traffic. I know we'll probably cover that in a little bit, but part of that has to do with housing, and we're creating a lot of the issues that we have by. So there's a balance that I'm discovering. There's a balance between available housing prices, and then because we don't have available housing or the proper available housing for everybody that wants to live here, prices go up. We price people out of living in St. Augustine. They have to live in Flagler or Putnam. And then we create that traffic issue coming back to work on 207 and US 1 and 16, and there are people out there. I can hear them already saying, "Well, we don't want anybody to move here," and for a long time I kind of felt the same way. I got here, I got in. Now you try to find a way to go somewhere else because we're full. The challenge that we have with that is that. There's a cost to slamming the door, and the economic impact, the fact that, I grew up in Palatka. There was a time when Palatka was a boomtown, and there was a time when there was, economic decline, and for a couple of decades. And it isn't until recently that there's been a resurgence over there. But to see a community in decline, it can be ugly, especially, if you come from places like West Virginia or Pennsylvania or New York. You see where there's an exodus of people. It's scary to me to think that just like Hastings is 20 miles from here, and it dissolved as a city and is now part of the county. So my questions are, what is a good healthy balance between growth, attainable housing, and then infrastructure? I mean, my first priority going in is we got to build roads. There's a challenge with that. 25 years ago, we had the opportunity to get a lot of federal money and build roads, and people didn't want it. Keep your money, because if we build roads, people will come. The challenge we find ourselves in is that people came anyway, and we just don't have roads. So our focus as a government, it has to be on infrastructure. Utilities, clean water. I one of my big things is making sure that everybody in St. Johns County has access to clean water. It's my passion. I think that there are still areas in St. Johns County that don't, and we need to fix that. But that also brings an economic impact to people. It impacts them economically. Connection fees. Now they have bills that they've never had before, instead of just cranking the well up. But those are challenges that we can face and that we can overcome. Attainable housing is something. I actually just had a meeting yesterday, and we talked about with the Health and Human Services Director, Shauna Novak, and the Assistant Director, Joseph Cohn. I met with them yesterday about the program that you were talking about, that they ran out of money, and we're waiting for a new legislative session to try to refill the coffers. So it will be available in the future, we hope. I know that there are challenges, and here's part of my rude awakening into politics is you realize that everybody is scrambling for that almighty dollar when it comes to politics. Is that we really want to continue to provide service and increase services to people, but the money comes from the taxpayer. It comes from people's pockets. which is one of the reasons why I really want to focus on efficiency, because I want to be able to be as miserly as I can without, we're a public service entity anyway, without being losing that public service component and without cutting. But that's just a fine line. We're pretty soon we're going to have to, if we're not wise about how we spend our money, we're going to have to pick and choose. And so the challenge is going to be. We've had discussions about having a housing authority and what that might bring. As a conservative, I'm hesitant to bring another layer of government. But if there's a way to do it to where it's a private public partnership and it doesn't involve another layer of bureaucracy, and we have the ability to self-fund through grants. I think it would be something that I would sit down at a table and discuss. I would have to be convinced that it's not adding another layer of government bureaucracy the way, most people's first thought of a housing group like that would be, a Section 8 housing and big ugly buildings full of crime and stuff like that. And if there's a way to do it to where it's not that. I think there is. People have come to me and said there's ways to do it. So we're going to sit down and have conversations. So there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of stuff for me to learn. I'm grateful that I'm only 1 vote out of 5 right now because I'm drinking from a fire hose. But
Sure.
But there are solutions. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are people doing it right. We just have to find those solutions and get someone to tote the flag here in St. Johns County, so we can get done what we need to do. And one of the things I'm discovering probably more than anything else in government is that you need to have someone who will pick the flag up and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's easier in government to kind of, if you're quiet, it'll go away kind of thing. And we just don't need to be quiet about it. We need to have people that will continue to come to the meetings and speak for what they believe is right and keep it on the burners. That's probably not going to be welcome news to other people in this position. But
all right, that music means it's time for our next break. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. And welcome back to the weekly radio show, the St. Johns County Council on Aging, here on WFOY 102.1 FM. Your local radio station for news, sports, and talk. I'm Brian Robinson, Program Director for COA, joined this morning by Commissioner Clay Murphy, and asking different questions throughout our time together. And time goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does go by fast.
Yeah. So we have an hour of time, and boy, this is our last segment. I do want to mention before I give you the next question, next week we have Susan Miller, who is our manager of our Integrated Memory Enhancement Program, that will be in the studio to talk about what's called our IMEP program. So tune in next week, same place, same time, right here on WFOY 102.1 FM. All right, so prior to the show, I asked you if there was anything that you specifically wanted to talk about while you were on the show, and so you gave me 2 things. You said that you want to talk about a solution to the water and sewer issue in West Augustine, and then the Genevar property boat ramp project. So tell us about those.
Yeah, thanks. One of the big, the big priority for all the commissioners is infrastructure. The things, and so that's a reoccurring theme. So we have to, find monies to build roads. We've got our east-west evacuation corridors need to be 4-laned or 6-laned, and that would be, 207. We got, 25 years ago when the hurricanes came through, we got federal money to 4-lane 207, and they're doing it all the way to Gainesville as part of the evacuation routes. So 16 needs to be done, 210 needs to be done, State Road 23 needs to be done. So we've got a lot of work there. But personally, for me, as someone who's grown up in here, I've lived here over the past 33 years, and I grew up in Palatka, so I've been in this area over 50 years. There are services. We're derelict in services in West Augustine. There are a lot of people that have worked very hard to try and solve this issue, and that have gone before me and that are even there now. Some of the commissioners that are on the board now, Commissioner Arnold, and some of my predecessors have worked really hard to try to find a solution there. But I just really want to add my voice to theirs when and help carry this flag, is that we have neighborhoods still in West Augustine that don't have access to clean water. And to me, I think that we as a community, we need to stand up and say, there's a solution to this. Let's fix it. So that's been my priority personally, is to make sure that everybody has access to clean water in this county. It's and the good thing about it is that we have great utilities who are willing to sit down and say, hey, let's find a solution. But we need to get around a table, and we need to get a direction, and we need to not let the ball drop on this. We've got to get that done. So that's my personal number one thing. As a county commissioner, on the campaign trail, you're thinking, well, when I'm a county commissioner, I'll get a magic wand, and I'll get a 50-point IQ jump if I'm elected. I'm still waiting on the IQ jump and the magic wand for that matter. But what it takes people who are dedicated and work hard and won't quit. It's got to stay at the front of our minds that we need to get this problem solved. And so that's what I hope to do. My second idea, Paul Waldron was the commissioner before me. He was a friend of mine. We were in business together. We were friends. I love his family. His daughter worked at Sonny's with me. We washed dishes together, and so dishwasher. When you wash dishes together, you have a special bond. Have a special bond with the family. Paul and his family, his brothers and his mom and dad. We were in business together. They were my landlords for a long time, and great people. Paul's dream was to take the Genovar property that the county bought a couple years ago and turn it into a boat ramp. The boat ramp facilities out on Comanche Cove on Valana is maxed its capacity, and we have some of the most beautiful waterways in the world to me, whether it's whether you're kayaking or whether you're jet skiing or whether you're fishing or whatever. And access to these waterways is important for the people of St. Johns County, and that's the perfect spot to do it. I've seen the site plans. I think it's going to be beautiful. Now we need to get busy funding it. And here again, there's so many priorities and so many things that need our money and our attention. How do you pick and choose? How do you prioritize? So I'm going to be toting the flag for those two issues here in St. Johns County when I'm not trying to build roads. So that's my passion, if you will, is getting those things done. And here again, I go back and say I just want to add my voice to the people that have already worked really, really hard to try to get these things done. So, because we have a great county.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I've been here since 2018. First became familiar with St. Augustine back in the mid-'90s when I was going to college in Jacksonville, Florida. That's where I first became acquainted with it. But just a beautiful place to live. My wife and I, we had said that if we ever had the opportunity, we would retire to this area. And then her parents got to retirement age and both got ill and passed away. And so that's why we ended up moving here before retirement age, so that we can enjoy this beautiful place that we call home. I was looking on, prior to the coming on the show, I was just looking over some of the minutes from one of your recent meetings, and I've never been to one of the meetings personally, but boy, what an agenda that you have every time you have a meeting. Lots of different things on the plate. And as you said, I mean, it's, you're kind of like you're drinking from a fire hose, right? Yeah. There's so much that you gotta learn. So I guess the question that I have, we got a few minutes left here. I mean, I assume you have these things in advance so you can kind of prepare and study up on it and that kind of stuff. And how's that going for you? Is that a learning curve for you?
Wow. There's so much to learn. There's so many different areas of the county, and so many different people have different priorities, and they all want you to make their priority your your priority, and I really want to. I really want to help. One of the things that I promised to do on the campaign trail is answer the phone, to answer the emails, that when people have questions or needs or concerns, is that I'll do what I can to help. My challenge, of course, is I want to help everybody. Everybody that sends an email, even if they send it to all 5 commissioners, I'm going to answer, and I'm going to see what I can do. And I've got to be careful because I can get overwhelmed with that. I've got to, I won't stop helping when I can, but I also have to have some boundaries when it comes to not burning out and
Sure.
not ending up, huddled in the corner somewhere with my thumb in my mouth, because there's so many things
Absolutely.
to learn, and to have a working knowledge and being able to make an educated vote on the issues that affect this county is very important to me. And so I have been, I dove in the deep end right from the get-go. My poor wife will tell you that, after stuff all day yesterday, and we get home, we go to the Flagler basketball game, because I'm on the Saints Club Advisory Board there, and I love supporting Flagler athletics. But we get home, and I'm up to 10, 11 o'clock answering emails. Somebody email me back and says, "What are you doing up this late?" I'm like, "Every night, brother."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm enjoying it. It's so much more intellectually stimulating than I ever imagined. I feel so blessed to be able to serve the people of St. Johns County in this. I'm so humbled by it. But that's the job, and I'm really excited to take it on.
Well, and having been in my whole career serving people, first in ministry, now in this position at St. Johns County Council on Aging, it is very important that you make sure that you take time for yourself. Mentally, physically, that's very important to do that. So I'm glad that you recognize that, and come out sometime and sit on the patio at River House if you need a chance to relax. That's a beautiful location there that we have, and right on the Matanzas River. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to be to
Never have.
River House location.
I accept your invitation.
All right. Well, we're going to have you over, and you can check out everything that we do at Council on Aging. Our executive director, Becky Yanni, wanted to extend an invitation to you to come and see everything. So we're looking forward to that. So thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be with us, and we wish you all the luck in the world in this new endeavor.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back here next week. Till then, have a great week.